The first scream wasn't heard, only felt, like a vibration in the bones of anyone standing near the old apartment's hallway. The night it happened, no one could explain it, but everyone remembered the way the lights flickered as if something enormous had moved through the building. Elias had moved into Unit 303 only 3 days earlier. A cheap place, no questions asked. Tenants who never made eye contact. That silence was easier than conversation. But on the third night, he noticed the door across the hall unit. 304 was slightly open, not enough to be trespassing, just enough to watch. Every time he passed by, the crack remained the same width. No light inside. No movement, only darkness pressed into the slit, like a shadow waiting to be spilled. He asked the landlord about it, but the old man froze, his face draining of color. "There is number 304, he whispered. "That door shouldn't be open." That night, as Elias tried to sleep, he heard something breathing in the hallway. Slow, wet animal. But when he looked through his door's peephole, the hall was empty, except for 304, now open a few inches wider. He couldn't shake the feeling that something behind it was watching him watch it. The smell began the following night. Metallic, rotten, like pennies left in a fire. It seeped under his door, curling into his lungs until he gasped. When he peeked through the peephole again, he saw movement, just a shift of darkness, as if something inside 304 had stepped closer to the opening. He recorded the hallway out of desperation. When he reviewed the footage, his heart thrashed violently, frame by frame. The door to 304 inched wider, and behind it, something pale, something tall, something with a face too long to be human. The last frame showed the thing's eyes staring directly into his lens. That night, the breathing returned closer, heavier, almost pressing against his door. Elias reached for the lock. It clicked open by itself, and from the hallway, something whispered his name. Elias slammed his weight against the door, fingers trembling as he forced the lock back into place. But the whispering continued, not from outside now, from inside the walls, slipping through them like a voice carried by water. Elias, come back. He didn't remember running into the hallway. He only remembered standing before Unit 304. The door now opened wide enough to reveal a blackness so dense it felt alive. A cold draft rolled out, carrying that same metallic rot that clung to his throat. Inside, the darkness shifted. He aimed his phone's flashlight, and the beam hit a wall covered in deep, violent scratch marks, each mark spelling his name over and over. He staggered back, but the floorboards behind him curled upward like fingers, pushing him toward the room. He screamed, grabbing the frame, but the wood snapped and splintered beneath his grip, pulling him inside. The door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed him instantly, but he wasn't alone. A tall silhouette emerged, strongly proportioned, joints bending in grotesque angles. Its face stretched downward, jaw unhinged far too wide, as if it were trying to speak. but had no idea how. Then it mimicked his voice perfectly. "Help me." The creature moved closer, its feet dragging like wet meat across tile. He tried to run, but the room twisted into a maze, walls folding, stretching, rearranging themselves with each step. The door was gone. The air grew colder. His breath crystallized. He heard multiple footsteps behind him. Not one creature. Dozens. Their whispers scraped through his skull like nails on bone. He tripped, falling into a nest of limbs, hands that weren't hands, faces that weren't faces each, one mouthing his name as if tasting it. The creatures parted. Dot. At the center stood a door. His door. Unit 303. But when it opened, he saw himself standing inside. Same clothes. Same scars. Same terrified expression. The duplicate Elias stared at him with hollow eyes, then whispered. I closed the door. Too late. The creatures lunged. The hallway lights flickered. Unit 304 sealed shut. No one ever saw the real Elias again.